What's up everybody, welcome back to a brand new video on Lexalexus. Today we've got some championship games and actually the last game week before the international break for the Euro 2024 qualifiers, which I cannot believe it is this soon that we're going to start getting qualifiers for that tournament. We've got 10 games to predict because actually we've got 3 championship teams playing in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup this weekend as well. So Blackburn, Sheffield United and Burnley, best of luck to all 3 of you. We know at least one of you is going to be in the semi-finals. Let's hope for 2 championship teams in the semi-finals. For the Premier League games that will be taking place this weekend as well, I'll be predicting them. They are on the left-hand side of the screen right now. You can predict the Premier League games also in the comments down below for you guys to have a chance to enter the Premier League Lexalexus Football Prediction League. If you saw my latest community post, you would have seen that I have updated the football prediction leagues for the Championship and the Premier League. I have not applied the midweek games yet, but they will be coming together when I calculate these week games as well. So all of this will be coming in an update very soon. If you guys like what you see, please give the video a like. It does from us here at the channel. Please do hit the subscribe button if you also want to see more. We're really trying to push for 2,000 subscribers. We're not too far away from that now, so please continue to show support because it really does help the growth of this channel. And please also share the channel too. All these things really do help. But without any further ado, let's start predicting the 10 championship games this weekend. Going to predict is Blackpool versus Coventry. Blackpool had the most bizarre midweek that I have ever seen. It was the most crazy scoreline this season. Blackpool 6, QPR 1. Blackpool matched their incredible scoreline against Birmingham at around the same time last year. So Blackpool and a Mick McCarthy team to score 6. I mean, am I dreaming? Did that really happen? But it really did happen, and it actually could have been worse than 6, and that was the embarrassing part for QPR, but I'll be talking more about them later on. They faced a Coventry team where they drew against their relegated rivals Wigan in midweek. It ended as a 1-1 draw, and ultimately it felt like a game that Coventry should have killed off a little bit. The own goal for Wigan managed to come from Calvert Vazdean. It was like a really bad deflection. It just took it to the corner of the net. And ultimately, it was another situation for Coventry where they definitely should have got more from that game. And they'll be quite disappointed with that. Against Blackpool, who have had that incredible boost of confidence, I would imagine, from that midweek game. It now makes a very interesting game. But as a prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think both teams will cancel each other out, and I think it will be a pretty close contest. I'll go for 1-1. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Middlesbrough versus Preston. So, both of these teams in midweek had interesting outcomes in their game. Middlesbrough had a really big chance to close the gap from 3rd to 2nd on Sheffield United by 1 point, and they did take the lead in that game. And I was thinking, here we go, this is Middlesbrough now starting to take over this season. But Middlesbrough have been completely brilliant at home. They were really blown away by Stoke, and Stoke, I've got to say, are not only improving, but they're starting to get some consistency, which has come about 10 to 15 games too late for me. But it's nice to see Stoke actually improving their performances more consistently. However, again, getting on the score sheet as well, where he managed to bag 2 goals for Stoke in their Saturday game. So I'm pleased for him that he's now starting to get some good amount of goals going in. Preston, they are going through a good unbeaten run right now. They are, I think, just above Sunderland in the table, 11th to 10th place. Definitely an outsider bet in terms of the top 6. I think they will have to be near flawless to get it. But considering the teams that are dropping points in around that position of the table, I actually think it will be a very achievable scenario for Preston if they can just hang on to this unbeaten run for quite a fair bit longer, maybe even to the end of the season. That is like the crazy amount of games you need to stay unbeaten to actually progress that sort of level up the table. With this game, you know, I would have been backing Middlesbrough for a win a couple of weeks ago, but for now, I think Middlesbrough, we're starting to get them a bit fatigued. I think they'll be really hoping for this international break. Middlesbrough, I think they need it more than anyone. Preston, I don't think they really want this international break. I think they're improving their form. I think they're starting to get some more consistency. As a prediction, I think likewise with Blackpool and Coventry, I think it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I think both teams will cancel each other out. I don't really see a lot to separate them here. I'll go for a 1-1 draw. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Millwall versus Huddersfield. So Millwall managed to squeeze a 2-1 win over Swansea. It was a very typical game for Swansea. We saw them having a lot of the ball, having those chances that they missed, and they didn't really have too many chances until they started throwing crosses into the box, and Mill had to be alert to them. But Swansea giving away 2 really bad goals, and Millwall completely capitalising on them there. They did concede 1 goal to Swansea though, which they ultimately did well, Millwall, to hold out and to keep the result as it was. Huddersfield recently just played against Norwich and they held out for a 1-1 draw. They actually ended the game with 1 extra man on the field as well. I think by that time it would have been difficult for Huddersfield to get 3 points against Norwich, but 1 point is better than none. The only disappointing part of it is that the team they're catching, Cardiff, have matched Huddersfield's result. So ultimately there was no ground gained from Huddersfield, and especially from their home games, Huddersfield really needed to try and make ground for that, you know, even if they're playing against Norwich, who were a team originally in the top 6 going into that game. As a prediction here, I think Millwall's home form is really good this year. It's why they are currently in the top 6 at the moment, that having that consistency at the Den. I think it's going to be a 2-1 victory. I think it's going to be pretty close. I mean, Huddersfield could actually scare them, but I think Millwall will be confident enough to get the 3 points here. I'm going to go 2-1 Millwall. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game today is QPR versus Birmingham. I mean, I don't know what to predict for QPR. I think we could see either a team bouncing back and really trying to do Gareth Ainsworth proud after that humiliation at Bloomfield Road, or they'll continue as they were in Bloomfield Road and be completely embarrassing when they face a Birmingham team where, let's be honest, you know, their form's not great either, really. So Birmingham, you know, it actually matches QPR's form, really, to be honest. 1 win in their last 5. And Birmingham could really fall down the table if they do lose this one. They're both on 42 points, and they're both only separated by goal difference. So either team gets a win here. It could be a big result actually for one of those teams, but as a prediction, something tells me that we're actually going to see a positive response from QPR after that game. I think Gareth Ainsworth would take no prisoners here. He's really going to want to see a response, and QPR did win their last home game quite well, so I'm going to go for a 1-0 victory to QPR. That might be my most wild card prediction out of every game this weekend, but we do always see a game end in a way where we don't expect. So I'm going to go 1-0 QPR. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game today is Reading versus Hull City. Reading just now lost to Blackburn Rovers. Looks like that they stayed within the game for most of the game, but unfortunately it was Blackburn that edged out with 2 goals in the end, and Lewin getting sent off for Reading as well, which resulted in them ending in 10 men. Unless they appeal that red card, he won't make an appearance for this game here. Hull were involved just now against Burnley when they lost out by 3-1. I mean, they were comprehensively beaten in terms of chances. Nathan Teller ripping them apart, you know, like he's been doing with every championship team it seems this season. Hull did pull one back, but unfortunately by that time, damage was really already done by top of the table Burnley there. As a prediction here, something tells me I feel this game will end as a draw. Reading at home are definitely better than what they are away from home. If it was like the reverse way round and it was Hull versus Reading, I'd be backing a Hull win any day. But Reading at home are quite decent. Hull have been a little bit inconsistent with their results, but ultimately their performances, I think, are better than Reading's right now. So ultimately, I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I don't think a lot will separate them, so I'm going to compromise for a draw. Let me know what you think of that, guys, in the comments down below. Next game today is Rotherham versus Cardiff. This, I think, will be a tricky game to predict, I think. And when you think about it, it's 21st going up against 20th. So we've got some really big games in terms of the bottom part of the table, especially with the teams just above the relegation zone as well. Rotherham lost out in midweek at home against Preston North End. It did look like that they were going back into it when they equalised after Preston took the lead from Tom Cannon, but after that they did concede, and unfortunately they didn't really do enough, in my personal opinion, looking at the highlights, to warrant an equaliser there. Preston managed that game quite well, actually. Cardiff, they recently drew against West Brom, and I'm telling you, even with the players that they've not got available, Sabri Namucci has found a way to make sure that Cardiff continue this great form, especially at home. Away from home, I'm a little bit more sceptical of, but the team that's picking up the results right now is Cardiff City. And with Rotherham, I got to be honest with them, I've not been too impressed with the fact that they've lost back-to-back games just now. Since beating QPR by 3-1, they have lost back-to-back games. This could be a good time for Rotherham to get back into winning ways, but as a prediction, I'm actually going to say it's going to be Cardiff's game here. Something tells me I think Lamucci will really set Cardiff out to be a really bad team to break down. It could end in a very low-scoring 0-0 draw, which was another alternative prediction I had for this game, but I'm going to go 2-1 Cardiff. I think it will open up at times. I think if Cardiff get an early goal, it will make things very, very interesting, but if Rotherham score first, then that could be curtains for Cardiff, because I don't really see them having that momentum to try and overcome a lead there. So it'll really be down to see which team bites first. I'm going for Cardiff, and I think it'll end 2-1 to the away side. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is going to be Stoke versus Norwich. So I'm already singing my praises about Stoke. They have really started to get some consistency now this season. Smallbone's been great. Hoover, as I said, has scored 3 goals in 2 games. He's really started to come to his own within this Stoke City side. And I'm pleased for it. And I'm actually pleased for this whole team for the fact they are now starting to build something here. They're comfortably mid-table now. But keep up this form, Stoke, and you definitely could see yourselves in a top half finish, which would be a great improvement. Norwich, just typical Norwich, really. You see them perform well a couple of games ago, and then all of a sudden they now find themselves in a really bad form again. That has really been typical of this team, that there's definitely an overload of quality. Great goal scored by Gabriel Sara as well, but unfortunately they just don't have the tenacity and intensity to kill teams off. It's a problem that a lot of the high-scoring championship teams tend to have. They have this expectation they're going to kill teams off every single game. But what that does is that when that doesn't happen, it leaves them a bit open at the back. And that's exactly what happened with Norwich there. Arguably, with it being an own goal, may have been quite unlucky on their part. But at the same time, it is 2 points dropped. And right now, they have got a bit of a gap to try and patch to get back into the top 6, because Millwall, of course, won in that midweek as well. As a prediction, something tells me I think Stoke will actually win. I actually think Alex Neil will get the bragging rights against his former club, like what he did against Sunderland. I mean, not in that scoreline, but I think Alex Neil will get his revenge against Norwich here. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Stoke win. I think they're actually playing some really nice stuff so far. I mean, this will be a very typical game for Norwich to pick up all 3 points again, but I'm going to back Stoke here. I'm going 2-0 to the Pollers. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Sunderland versus Luton. This, for me, will be low scoring, in my opinion here. Sunderland played out a pretty intense game against Sheffield United, ultimately lost out by 2-1. A very close one in that game, at least. And they actually had a really good win in their last game against Norwich. So Sunderland are still finding ways to try and pick up points and to stay competitive in games despite the squad injuries that they've got. I've got to say, Abdallah Bar, as right now, is the player to watch. He scored, obviously, the only goal in the win against Norwich, and he also assisted Sunderland's goal against Sheffield United. So he's going to be a player to watch, I think. Now we talk about Luton, where Luton Town just seem to be winning as much as they can right now. It's a very narrow 1-0 win against Bristol City, but considering in their previous 2 games they ended as a 1-1 draw, it's progress, but Luton have been able to find a way to get a goal, shut the opposition down, and to hold on to those 3 points. And they're only 1 point behind Middlesbrough. So right now, if we're thinking that Middlesbrough have a chance of getting into the top 2, we've now got to throw Luton to that conversation, because right now Luton's form is looking amazing. This will be a tough game for Luton to play against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light, but I think as a prediction, I think Luton will pick up all 3 points here. I think they've found a way to get these results in a consistent manner. I'm going to go for a 1-0 away victory. I think it'll be very tight, a bit similar to the Sheffield United game. I'm visualising this game, but I think that Luton will edge out here. So I'm going to go 1-0 to Luton. Let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Next game to predict is Watford, and they have to play up against Wigan Athletic. So this is the last game for Saturday at least. Watford have a brilliant win in midweek against Birmingham. Exactly what Chris Wilder needed, really. You know, this is what I expect potentially QPR to be doing after their embarrassing previous performance there. It was a brilliant response by Watford, actually. A very complete performance in their part. Wigan, they managed to secure a point against Coventry. Arguably for them a really good result, considering that they weren't really in the game for, I've got to be honest, most of that game. I think a lot of Coventry fans would agree that they looked really lost out of ideas for the most part, but then one chance goes and they take it, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's a very interesting contest when you've got two teams on level terms in the final couple of minutes, which is exactly what happened in that game. But here, though, I think Watford, again, being at home, I think Chris Wilder will be expecting the same. And I think now that things are starting to click, Chris Wilder's had the time to know his best team and his approach to this team. So I think it'll be another routine 3-0 victory for Watford here. And considering that Wigan away from home also struggled in their last game, I think this will be another example of that. So I'm going to go 3-0 to Watford. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Final game to predict is Swansea versus Bristol City. Right now, Swansea look like a team, but are just not going to win anytime soon. But Bristol City may not be the worst team for them to play up against right now, because whilst Bristol City did have good form, all of a sudden now it's been more inconsistent again. But it's not like that Bristol City are on a streak in any way. They are actually being able to throw away in the odd game or so. But right now, definitely Bristol City have reached their peak in their really good positive momentum right now. And I feel like at the moment that it's not quite going to be a slide in terms of Bristol City's form, but if this carries on from the next 2-3 games, that will happen. Of course, they lost out in midweek against Luton Town, and Swansea, as I mentioned, lost out against Millwall, having all the balls, same old story, but at the same time defensively not great. And especially that second goal, Andy Fisher, the goalkeeper, needs to do much better than that as well. So these defensive howlers are really, really harming Swansea's chances of having a really, really good season. And it's devastating to see those tiny little things, you know, make such a big difference here. And I think for this game here, I think it'll be a pretty open game. But I just think Swansea right now are the victims of their own downfall. And I actually think Bristol City may capitalise on that. As a prediction, I'm going to go for a 2-1 away victory to Bristol City. I think it'll be tight, but I think the away team will be able to hit them from the break. Alex Scott is looking really, really good right now. I think he'll play a big impact, so I'm going to go 2-1 Bristol City. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. So guys, that is my predictions done. So yeah, only 10 game weeks to predict. Obviously, we've got the 2 FA Cup games as well, but I have included them in my predictions for the Premier League. They won't count towards the prediction league, but I'm just predicting them for fun, of course. If you guys want to predict and get some points on the prediction league, the best way to do that is predict the 10 championship games for the Championship League, and for the Premier League, also predict the Premier League games that I put in the left-hand side of the screen at the start of this video. There you go, guys. That is my video done. If you guys like what you see, please smash the like button. It would be amazing if you can. 30 likes is the target, but right now, you guys are smashing it with the like target. I'm really, really impressed. Let's see what we can get to this time. But thank you guys as always for the support. Socials are down there in case you want to follow. Please do hit the subscribe button if you're not done so. It does really help. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're getting ever closer, so thank you guys so much. And please share the channel too. All these things really do help. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary. It's on the end of this video. And as always, I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everyone.